Hello, I have a very unorthodox style. I think that basically Jesus he died for my sins and he rose on the third day, but and that Jesus is more than a man and that he is God but he is not God. But like I the first of all, I think he's the son of God, but not in a biological sense and not in a literal sense either. Like, and not in a metaphorical sense either. Like, I don't think he's. It's. I don't think it's like when mommy meets daddy and mommy and daddy together they have baby. I don't think that's how he's the son of God. Nor do I believe that he's metaphorically the son of God, like the sons by the tons theory. Nor do I believe in the Trinity because I think that was made up later. Nor do I believe in the Unitarianism because the Trinity, like it has a historical development that came much later by people. There's no reference of persons or beings or in the original what did Jesus said or in the canonical gospels or whatever. And I don't think the Bible is the Word of God like the Quran is considered to be the Word of God. I think it's a historical source. Like people did write it, but it's historically accurate. Like the thing is, Jesus, he never says, "I am God, worship me." He doesn't say that. He doesn't clearly claim to be God, but he does hint at that fact, and he does point to that fact because the Jews they accused him of blasphemy. Now, if they accused him of blasphemy, then it would be logical for if he wasn't God, he would say, "I am not God." So why not we answer the have a DDAT challenge of our own? Show me us where he says he is not God because he was accused of claiming to be God by the Jews and accused of blasphemy. So why doesn't he say, "I am not God" if that is not the case? So instead he says, "You will see the Son of Man in the clouds of heaven." So and that's a reference to Daniel 7. So he is claiming to be, he is not denying these allegations. So he is in some way claiming to be God, but in the same way not. But the thing is, like, I don't think he could put his claims into words. I don't think human words could explain what he's really trying to claim and who he really is. I don't think words can describe who Jesus really is. I think he's the Son of Man, man, the Son of God, not literally, not physically, not metaphorically, not spiritually, not any way we can think of it, but somehow he is. Like, it's weird. Like, he's not just a man, and he's not just a prophet. He's more, and he's God, but he's not God. But like, he's divine, but he's not divine. Like, it's these Trinity and hypostatic unions. These were made up later, and the reason, the issue I have with the Quran is uh, the historical evidence does suggest that Jesus was crucified, and the spear wound and shoved a spear through his side, which might impaled his heart, according to the medical and historical evidence. So I don't buy the swoon theory either. Like they say, Ahmadi people, they say Jesus, he didn't die on the cross, he survived, and even with all his wounds and stuff, he was healed by this Marham Isa, this potion that somehow healed him to the point that he was able to walk all the way to India and die in Kashmir. But and then they asked Khalifa Rabi Mirza Tahir Ahmad if is it about this, and he said, "Is it easier to go to Kashmir or is it easier to go to heaven?" Well, the thing is, if it still seems medically and physically absurd and impossible for someone to go through all that pain and suffering and even have, let's say they didn't impale his heart even, but like the historic flash shows you they did. Still, it seems hard to believe, with all those wounds, some potion. What kind of potion is this, Mariam Isa, that can heal such critical wounds after the scourging and all that stuff and crucifixion and allow a man to still have enough strength to walk all the way to India and Kashmir and live to 120? If you think that is more like easier than to believe than going to heaven, so be it. But something unusual is going on here. So if you're willing to believe that, why not just believe he could ascend to heaven too? I mean, I don't know about the ascension. I do think there are certain historical facts we know about Jesus, that his crucifixion. And there's so many. We have Christian, non-Christian, Roman, Jewish. So many sources that indicate yes, he died on the cross within the first century, and then we have all these sources, and then the criteria of embarrassment also shows that the two most bedrock facts about Jesus we know for sure is his baptism and his crucifixion. And furthermore, uh, his tomb was empty. The empty tomb is also another bedrock fact, and there's so many historical evidence for that. And then also people claim to see him while he was alive. I mean, see him after he was dead, like they saw him alive after he was dead. And the 500 witnesses or the testimony of it. Of course, history doesn't deal with miracles. It tells us what probably happened in the past, and miracle is improbable by nature, but it is a historical fact that people claim to see him while he was alive. So we have three historical facts, bedrock facts. We have the crucifixion of Jesus, and that his tomb was empty where he was buried, and then it was empty, and then three that people saw him alive after he was dead. So those are three historical facts that most historians cannot deny, and then the burden of proof would be on someone who claims that these didn't happen. But like, it takes a leap of faith to believe the rest. Like, you cannot prove he rose from the dead, but you could take a leap of faith because we could argue that maybe aliens came and aliens abducted Jesus and took his body, and then one of the aliens disguised himself and fooled everyone into thinking he rose from the dead. This is possible, but uh, I'm not gonna put my faith in it or trust in that or hope in that. Uh, Pascal's wager. Why not put hope and trust in the faith in Jesus? Because uh, you have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. And I would rather go to the heaven and not the hell. And the thing about Islam and Christianity, why work to go to heaven when I could go there for free? If Christianity is telling me I could go to heaven for free, but Islam says I have to work for heaven. Why not take the free route? Why work to make $1 million when I could get it for free? You know. Well, but at the same time, I'm not a conservative and I'm not a fundamentalist. Uh, I I do believe in evolution. I mean, I would say believe in. I think it is a proven fact scientifically, according to whatever biological sciences and the paleontology and the scientific academia. I think evolution is a scientific fact. I don't. It's a scientific theory, just like gravity. Like, it's not something you believe in or don't believe in. I think evolution did happen. I don't believe Adam Islam really was a real person. I think we are sinners. Like, I am guilty of sin. If I was guilty of a crime and I stood before the judge and I told him I'm sorry, would he forgive me? No, he can't. Like, and they say he's not a judge, he's not an adil, he's a malik, like he's the master of the day of judgment. But and then they say like a judge would get fired if he forgives you for committing a crime, but a master or an owner of something, if you violate his property, he could still forgive you. Yeah, but and then they say like, does it make sense if someone commits a crime and an innocent person gets punished instead of him, and they allow that to happen? No. So the analogy fails somehow. That's not a very good analogy, but I think the fact that there is evidence that they shoved a spear to his side and out came water and blood. According to the medical doctors, it's because when you have a heart attack, the pericardium around the heart, a membrane around the heart, it becomes inflamed and becomes like liquid. So the water that came with his blood mixed was basically from his pericardium. So he already died of a heart attack when he was on the cross. So I don't like the Quran. It seems more likely to be the word of God, like more supernatural than the Bible, but it contradicts a historical fact. 600 years after the fact. So, and it doesn't elaborate on what really happened. And I don't know how I can take that seriously. Someone just saying something that's considered a historical fact didn't happen and doesn't even really elaborate and isn't even really clear if it's happened or not. It's the worst. You know what I'm talking about. Makatulu, Masalamu, Mashubila. It's not very clear. What does that mean? Like, I know the non-Amdis, their theory is that uh, someone else died on the cross while he ascended to heaven, but there's nothing from the Quran or authentic hadith that clearly supports that. And then the Ahmadis, the swoon theory with a spear wound, that doesn't. I don't think that theory works either. And they're both theories. They're not actually mentioned in the Quran exactly. The only one verse that's unclear, and I deny a historical fact based on that. I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I believe everything's between me and God, and we should have peace on earth and try to live in peace. I do believe in evolution. I think I'm going to heaven. I don't believe in the Trinity or that God is a daddy and someone without a mommy he begat a son somehow, or Virgin Mary was a mommy, or I don't know what. I don't believe in literally he was then biologically the son of God. I don't believe we know he was a mysterious connection with God, which I don't think even he could explain in terms, which is why he didn't make a clear statement. But yeah, like, I think yeah, this is my unorthodox style, my unorthodox views, and I'm interested in flying saucers, and men in black, and aliens, and Bigfoots, and they could be real, like the Roswell. It could have happened, but there is evidence. I'm open to any. I'll try to keep an open mind. This is my personal faith that I think some unorthodox style of Christianity. But that's my personal faith. I don't judge anybody, and I try to keep an open mind. And whether I believe I live forever, whether it's a resurrection or reincarnation or whatever. Even if I'm annihilated, at least I'm happy with my life right now. I found peace with God. May God have mercy on my soul, and may God have mercy on your soul, and everybody's soul. Amen. Thank you, Woody.